Grid number 3, car number 11A, Ray Griffin. Grid number 4, car number 4T, all the way from Cromwell, Kyle Shearing. Grid number 5, car 35A, and that is Rod Vasey. Car number, grid number 6, car number 24A, Tyler Radovan. Grid number 7, car number 7, Travis Buckley. Grid position number 8, car number 11, USA, Jonathan Allard. Grid position number 9, car number 78, Daniel Eggleton. And in grid position 10, it is car number 7A, Dion Kendall. Grid position number 11, all repaired and ready to go again, 1NZ, Jamie Larson. And in grid position 12, it is the winner of the Salter-Cartage Sprint Car Stampede just 2 nights ago, and that is the 71A of Jamie McDonald. In grid position 13, it is car number 17H, and that is Glenn Mitchell from Huntley. That is the way they'll line up for 10 laps in the sprint cars. And what a show we saw just a couple of nights ago with the Salter Sprint Car Stampede. And Jamie McDonald didn't put a foot or even a tyre wrong in that feature event.
No, and I think a driver that actually caught everyone off guard on the night was actually the 7A of Dion Kendall, Phil. He had a strong drive all the way through the heat races, was obviously 4th on points heading into the feature, and just ran a really smooth, consistent race. So something that was great to see, whether that's testing of things to come for Dion, but there was nothing that we could take away from the man of the moment, which was Jamie McDonald, and not to go without a fight from the likes of Daniel Eggleton as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A great drive from Dan. I was talking to his dad just before we came up here to the CRC control tower. He still had a grin on his face, did Michael?
But tonight is a new night.
A new night, a new track, new adventures for all. Sprint car racing here at Western Springs. Brought to you by Salter-Cartage.
And good to see the 6M of Darm making his way up from the Sunny Mount as well here for a great night's racing here. Obviously not here for the Sprint Car Stampede, so great to see the yellow Hydrolink machine out there tonight.
Yeah, and once again, folks, I can't reiterate the fact that the commitment of these guys. You know, if you've had a little bit of damage, be it mechanical engine damage, crash damage, it's one hell of a job to get these cars looking just as good as they can with, in some cases, a 1.5 day turnaround.
And we made mention to, obviously, the cost of some of these pieces of machinery that are out there, Phil, that, you know, you're not going to get much change out of, you know, building one of these sprint cars for any more than about $150,000 if you're buying everything new out of the box. So they are an extremely expensive piece of machinery to be firing around on the dirt here on a Saturday night.
Yeah, I know, going back a few years, you know, even the Tommy Tipovers, that's probably a $5 grand exercise.
Yeah, you're not wrong, and I think from memory, these alloy wings on the top of the cars, you get no change out of $1,500 for one of these things, and the guys just seem to have, you know, numbers of them almost strapped to the top of their transporters outside and, you know, at the ready as they need them. So just something that's, you know, almost a consumable on race night, like the top wings. You know, it all adds up, but we got the cars gridding up now, 10 laps for sprint car heat number 1 with the 2NZ of Michael Pickens and James Darm off the front row.
The pace crack goes off onto the infield. If you're watching on the Monster Vision big screen, if you're watching on the live stream, you can feel the excitement start to rise here at Lucas Oil Western Springs. Will it be the 9-time midget car champion Michael Pickens? Will he get the drop on Darm in the Hydrolink car? Tell you who I've been really impressed with over the last 2 days, and that's Ray Griffin sitting there on the inside of row 2. They let him go, and it is side by side. Darm's going to command the front running. Oh, there's a bit of a tangle, and someone going very, very slowly, and I think I've just put the commentator's kiss of death on Ray Griffin because it was him going slowly, and he's just come off the grass and back into it. So a problem there for Ray.
And
no
it's
problem
Pickens
at all, though, for Michael Pickens.
Streaks off into the lead, gets around Darm, and drives off into the sunset here tonight. He's found something. He has a little bit of track knowledge after that last midget heat and doing so well. Here, Jonathan Allard slides his way up into 3rd place, and behind him, it's the man from Cromwell, and that is Kyle Shearing in the 4. And we got a problem in the spinner, and he keeps it going, so that's good news. We don't see the yellows come out. Not good news for Darm because he's not going to get any closer to Michael Pickens, I don't think. Pickens now rounds up our man that spun that last time round. I think it was Glenn Mitchell. And he does so successfully there, and the next man will be on the back of Glenn Mitchell very shortly, which is James Darm. So obviously we're just looking back further in the pack here. Travis Buckley under the pressure of Daniel Eagleton as Eagleton just runs wide there.
Yeah, and right in behind Eagleton, it's Jamie Larson, two-time New Zealand sprint car champion. Had a big hit here a couple of nights ago, got it repaired now, and he's having a bit of... Oh, and Travis Buckley's got it horribly wrong as they come out of the Penrite corner. We go back to the front of the field, and Pickens is just doing what Michael Pickens does. He's already got just about the length of the front straight, the Century Batteries trade zone straight in front at this stage in the early going of this 10-lapper.
And he certainly looks at home, and who would have picked it? We've got Jamie McDonald running second to last here in this heat race. A man who is so dominant here on Boxing Night, almost about to go down a lap to none other than Michael Pickens. So some interesting tales here. We've got the 1NZ and the 71, both running down the back and about to go a lap down.
Yeah, obviously Travis Buckley and the team have missed the setup completely because he's right off the pace. He's about to be lapped as well. Nothing Jonathan Allard can do about Darm at the moment. That's the battle for second and third. You're watching on the big screen, you're watching Michael Pickens go around the outside of Jamie McDonald like he's chained to a post. That's the pace that Pickens has got, and that's the pace that the others don't seem to have. He's going to go right through this field. No, he's not, because we've only got one lap to go. But if it was 5 laps, I'd put the house on it. Look at this.
Oh,
and there's a tangle up. Mitchell and also Jamie Larson get caught up, and Travis Buckley was lucky not to.
And that just shows the experience of Michael Pickens. He was right on the top of that, and as it happened...
And Ellie, we're not going to see the checkered flag, so we're going to have a green-white checker again here by the look of it.
And the man from California, Jonathan Allard, comes back into the realms of this fight between Pickens, Darm, here at the front as well. So things will even up. I'm sure Jamie McDonald should get released from this pack here and back into his original position.
Yeah, I'm sure the stewards and the judges here will be looking at that. He doesn't want to go. You can see that. He's just sitting there on the pole line thinking, well, I'll just stay here till I'm told to go. He's been told to go now, and he will go a full lap and rejoin at the rear of the field. Well, as you mentioned, he has had a little bit of a shocker in the early going of this one, and he was so far ahead last time. Replay on the big screen. This is a tangle up. The 17 there of Mitchell, the 1 of Jamie Larson. Michael Pickens missed it. So too did the 71.
And unfortunately,
that brought out the yellows on the white flag lap. So we're going to do it all again.
And luckily for Glenn Mitchell there, he did have 2 very experienced, smooth, fast drivers of Pickens and McDonald who were able to have cat-like reaction times and managed to avoid the damage there. So we've just got a little bit of speculation between McDonald and Buckley at this stage. And the lights are off, and we'll look to go green this time.
So what are we going to see here? Has James Darm's got anything for the CRC car, the Hydrolink, the battle of the oil companies, the Hydrolink car versus the CRC lubricants car? Away they go. The answer is no. Pickens is just gone.
And there just seems to be nothing getting off the turn, so you definitely don't want to be stuck out on the outside like Darm was there, and that allowed Allard to sneak up the inside. So the drivers are going to get the checked flag this time, and it will be Pickens from Allard, from Darm. As we see Travis Buckley just fighting there, coming across the line there to wrap up sprint car heat number 1. Fantastic drive from Michael Pickens, bringing home the 2NZ Century Batteries, sorry, the CRC car, followed by the 11 of Jonathan Allard.
Already, I think we're seeing a slightly different Michael Pickens than the one we saw 2 nights ago. He just looked a little bit out of sorts. Results are on the Monster Vision big screen. You can see that over by the pit buildings. And officially, Michael Pickens, Jonathan Allard, James Darm, Daniel Eagleton, and another good drive from Auckland's Dion Kendall. Kyle Shearing in 6th, Travis Buckley, Jamie Larson, Jamie McDonald, and leading out the rear there, Tyler Radovan and Ray Griffin. Not a happy time. Not a happy time in the track for Ray, but Nick Brown, you're having a happy time in the pits, mate.
Midgets in the heat number 2. I was a little concerned, Brock Maskovich. There was some strange noises coming out of the engine on the rev limiter.
Yeah, it's just in the rev limiter there. It was just pretty slick coming out of 4 there and out of 2. So yeah, definitely slick, but obviously we need to make a gear change and we can adjust that, and hopefully we can get a bit more drive out of the turns. We're really good everywhere else. So yeah, we just need to work on that and we should be all right.
Could be quite a bit of grip though if it calms down a bit tonight, get a bit of water in it.
Yeah, it's sort of an odd track. It's sort of grippy in 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 coming mid to off. It's pretty slick. So yeah, we've got to choose wisely and not go too tight, not go too loose. So yeah, a little bit of a playing game, but we'll see where we are in the next heat.
All right, best of luck for the feature tonight.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks very much, Nick. Nick doing our roving reporting down there in the pits. catching up on the action that isn't out on the track. And what action we've got for you on the track: the return of the Super Saloons to Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway. And this is a bit of a taster for you folks. If you're a Speedway fan, you probably already know about this, but coming up on the 8th and 9th, that's a Friday and a Saturday night at the Prestige Pools Waikaraka Park Family Speedway, will be 40 of these cars, count them, 40 of them, doing battle for the New Zealand Super Saloons Championship, from Invercargill in the deep south to Kaikoui in the north. So that is going to be something. And we've got a pretty good field out here. We've got the Flynn brothers there in the Burger King cars. In number 6, it is Grant. And in number 5, it is Steve. Steve's a 2-time New Zealand champion. Just inside of him, it looks like Chase Rodder in the 33. Watch too for the 26, the 26M, N I should say, because he lives in the South Island now. That is Shane McIntyre. Great to see Ben Harding coming out. He was to have his debut last night at Waikaraka Park, but unfortunately got thwarted by the weather. Ben in the car that he designs and builds himself. I mentioned Shane McIntyre, of course. He is the brains behind the Hypermac brand of chassis. These cars running around about 800 odd horsepower, as you heard Grant Flynn say in the interview earlier on this evening. Very similar setup to a sprint car. A lot of people think they run huge offsets. They don't. But I tell you what, when there's a good field of them, they are excitement machines. Grant did say that here at Western Springs, as the track narrows down off the turns, might take a slightly different approach, because they're used to drifting out wide. They're really, really something to see at Bay Park, and also at Robertson Holden International Speedway in Palmerston North as well. So we have a look at the field. Just moving off now, the 5 of Steve Flynn. Alongside him, the 26N, that is Shane McIntyre. Another past New Zealand champion, but these days, Ellie, best known for the creator of the Hypermac.
Yeah, and
it's
like
the car to beat.
Yeah, like you made mention there, Phil, a lot of the cars out there are the Hypermax chassis. So I think it's very, very cool to see. Obviously, these guys will have 2 laps of practice to allow themselves to get comfortable with the car, with the track conditions. But one thing I'm really interested to see here is what times these guys can lay down, because at the moment we alluded to what Brock Maskovich said before, that we've almost got 2 tracks within a track here. We've obviously got turns 1 and 2, which are extremely drivey, and we're slick down here at 3 and 4. So I think obviously with the rear end configuration of these cars, allows them to get off the turn and hook up off that left rear a little bit harder than what we see with the open wheel cars. So I think we'll see some decent times out of these guys here.
Yeah, I'm sure of it. And they race hard, these guys. Matt Smith is in the field, and he won last 2 nights ago at Bay Park. You're watching on the big screen, that's Steve Flynn. It's a home-designed car, whereas Grant is running the Hypermac. It's a new car for Grant. He finished 2nd in the title chase last year. He'll be looking to go one better on January 7th and 8th. Shane McIntyre leads or sets the pace as they run toward the front. Ray Stewart all the way from Dunedin on the outside of the 2nd row. Steve Flynn on the inside along with Chase Rodder. Away we go. So it might take them a little bit of track time just to get the hang of things here. Once they get on the loud pedal, it'll be something to see. '99 there of Shane McIntyre starting to move up, but Flynn goes down the inside of him as they come into Midas. So the Flynn brothers doing what they've done for years and years and years, and that's battling out for placings here in the Super Saloons. It's Steve in the front, it's Grant in 2nd, still McIntyre in the front. Ray Stewart from Dunedin there, arguing the toss with Shane McIntyre in the Hypermac.
And we've
round
got
goes
one
to
around.
26.
It's the 26 of Wayne Garnett there. So,
no, that's
Shane McIntyre, sorry.
It's Shane McIntyre that's gone round. And I think he might have got a clip there from the 46, and I'm pretty sure that that was Matt Smith. Don't know that there's any real damage on the car. Looking on the Monster Vision big screen, you can see Shane's just waiting to get the word.
Not too sure whether these drivers are just using a little bit of the greasy stuff down on the pole line. So we've got the replay there on the big screen at the moment, on the Monster Vision big screen. It just looked to be all on his own there, Phil, and almost just a light dust up there.
Yeah, he didn't get him, but it was so close. There was probably a cigarette paper. Do you still have cigarette papers? There's cigarette paper between them.
And that was the 46M of Matt Smith there, just clipping the front of the 26 end there of Shane McIntyre. So extremely lucky to get away with that.
Matt Smith is the New Zealand Grand Prix. 7 to go, they're telling us. Matt Smith is the New Zealand Grand Prix winner in the Super Saloons. He'll be one of the favourites after having a good performance in Bay Park just the other night in the 46. Flynn brothers set the pace as we get set to go again. 7 to go in the Super Saloons. A bit of a taste for what you can expect at Prestige Pools, Waikaraka Park, coming up on the 6th and 7th of January. Ray Stewart wants to be in the mix as well, tries to dive down the inside of McIntyre by the look of it, can't quite get it done. And it is the 5 of Steve Flynn out in the front. Grant Flynn through in second. Grant, of course, the brains behind the Burger King Super Saloon Series that went right around New Zealand. Super popular racing. Normally 10 fields of over 30 odd cars.
Outside there from the 2NZ of Grant Flynn. Fantastic move there. So we just look back to the 24A, and that's Harding trying to make something work on that high line.
Yeah, well, this is the first race that Ben's had this season. He was thwarted last night at Waikaraka Park. And Flynn on Flynn, it's Grant now in first place, Steve in second. Then we go back to Ray Stewart, the Vertex Lubricants number 34. Then it's Smith. Oh, and just about going round there was Harding. He just kept it back under control again. I was lucky enough to go into the workshop and have a look at that car with the clothes off, and it really is an absolute work of art. These guys, they spare no expense and they really make these things work. That car of Ben Harding, Bobby Pierce from the United States has driven that car the 2 times that he's been out here and really put on a show.
These guys just starting to settle down and get into a bit of a groove here, but it's definitely those Flynn brothers definitely showing the class act that they are. The reigning and 2-time New Zealand champion out front, Grant Flynn.
No, Grant's never won the championship.
No,
Steve's
two-time New Zealand.
Steve's
Second
won
at
it
the
twice,
title.
so there's all bragging rights around the Christmas tree table. So Flynn on Flynn. Then we go back to Ray Stewart. Then we go back to Smith. Then we go back to Harding. And then it's the 99 of Shane McIntyre. Then we go back to Chase Rodder. Chase Rodder got his start before Super Saloons. He raced in 4-wheel drive buggies in those extreme rally seasons series. He was more known as a navigator than a driver, but he's been in the Supers for a while now. That's him in the 33. Comes from the Hawke's Bay. I was expecting to see Lance Jennings out here in the 96, but he's not there. But Mike Pegler is in the 36A. He's an Aucklander.
And a few drivers just choosing to sit out tonight because obviously the New Zealand title is coming up for these guys in a couple of weeks' time. So obviously a few drivers just choosing to sit on their hands as the checkered flag comes out, and it's the 2NZ of Grant Flynn. Steve Flynn rounding out second place. Then we go to the 34T of Ray Stewart in third position.
Now, this will be something new for these guys because normally they'll reach out of the cockpit window and grab the checkered flag and do a victory lap, but they're not going to do that here at Western Springs because I think Bryce is a bit too high up to let the flag down for them. So there we are, folks, a bit of a taste of what you can expect in January. It's January the 8th and 9th. I got the dates wrong. Friday and Saturday, 7 o'clock start at Prestige Pools, Waikaraka Speedway in Nielsen Street, Onehunga. 40 of these beasts, 40 from Invercargill to Kaikoui here for the Hyperdrive New Zealand Super Saloon Car Championships. I'll tell you what, if I'm not doing anything that night, I might go and have a look at that because it will be something to see. Something to see coming up, of course, is the TQ Heat number 2.